What if I told you the wisest man who ever lived ended his life in failure? A king blessed with unmatched wisdom, a ruler who built one of the greatest kingdoms in history, a man chosen by God himself, and yet he lost everything. Not to war, not to rebellion, but to love. Or more precisely, to 700 wives and 300 concubines. This is the story of King Solomon, the king with 1,000 women, and how they slowly led him into darkness. To understand how far he fell, we need to see how high he started. Solomon wasn't just any king. He was the son of King David, a warrior, a legend, the man who united Israel. But Solomon, he wasn't a warrior. He was something far more dangerous. He was brilliant. When Solomon became king, he did something unusual. Instead of asking for power or wealth or victory over enemies, he asked for wisdom. And according to the biblical account, God granted it, not just a little, but more than any man before or after. And that wisdom quickly became legendary. Two women came to him, both claiming the same baby. Solomon proposed cutting the child in half. One woman agreed, the other begged to save the child. And in that moment, Solomon knew who the real mother was. It was psychological genius, not force, not authority, pure understanding of human nature. And the world took notice. Kings, queens, scholars, they came from across the known world to witness his mind, including the famous Queen of Sheba, who traveled great distances just to test him, and he passed every test. Under Solomon, Israel reached its peak. This wasn't just a kingdom anymore, it was an empire of influence. Trade routes flourished, wealth poured in from every direction, silver became so common it lost value, and then came his greatest achievement, the temple in Jerusalem, a structure built not just as a place of worship, but as a symbol of divine connection. Gold-covered walls, intricate carvings, massive scale. It wasn't just architecture, it was a statement. This is the center of the world. Solomon had everything. Power, wealth, wisdom, and yet, this is where the story begins to turn. Because Solomon didn't just build alliances through trade, he built them through marriage. At first, it was strategic. Each wife represented a political alliance, a treaty, a connection, a guarantee of peace. But over time, it stopped being strategy and became excess. 100 wives became 300, 300 became 700, and then 300 concubines, 1,000 women. And they weren't all from Israel. They came from surrounding nations, different cultures, different beliefs, different gods. And that was the problem. In the ancient world, marriage wasn't just personal, it was spiritual. Each of these women brought something with them, their gods, their traditions, their expectations. And slowly, subtly, they began to influence Solomon. Not all at once, not dramatically, but gradually, like erosion. A shrine here, an altar there, a small compromise, and then another, and another, until the man who built a temple for one god was now building temples for many, including gods like Molech, associated with child sacrifice, Ashtoreth, worshipped through rituals that clashed with Israelite law. This wasn't just a personal failing, it was a complete reversal. The wisest man alive was now making decisions that directly contradicted everything he once stood for. And here's the most fascinating part. Solomon knew better. This wasn't ignorance, this was compromise, which makes his story so unsettling because it suggests something deeper. Wisdom doesn't protect you if you choose to ignore it. Solomon didn't lose his intelligence, he lost his discipline. He stopped drawing lines, and once those lines disappeared, there was nothing left to hold him in place. And consequences came, not immediately, but inevitably. According to the biblical account, God became angry with Solomon, not because he lacked wisdom, but because he abandoned it. And the punishment? The kingdom would be torn apart, not during his life, but after his death. And that's exactly what happened. His son inherited the throne, but not the unity. The kingdom split in two, Israel in the north, Judah in the south. What Solomon built didn't last. This isn't just a story about excess, or even about relationships. It's about something far more relevant, the slow nature of downfall. Because Solomon didn't wake up one day and decide to abandon everything. He drifted, step by step, compromise by compromise, until the distance between who he was and who he became was too great to see clearly. And that's what makes his story powerful. Not just the rise, not just the fall, but the process in between. If you enjoy stories like this, where history isn't just facts, but human decisions, where even the greatest figures can fall, then subscribe. Because there are countless stories like Solomon's, where the past feels less like something distant and more like a mirror.